Emma Lenny Benye Nile Loko. Esiku Dede Asiko yi. Hello everyone, it's Adironke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'll be revisiting birds and their Yoruba names, particularly in relation to this video. So I made a blunder with one of the birds and I'd like to clarify that. The Carmine bee eater is not the Àlùkò. Actually, it's not. You could say the yellow-billed Turaco, but really it is red-winged Turacos in general. They are the Aluko. So it's not the Carmine bee eater. Agbe is definitely the great blue Turaco. Agbe is the great blue one. It's very distinct. Like when I show you the diagram, you'll see. The greater blue-haired starling, if you remember, if you've seen the video, I was saying the Agbe is either this bird or that bird, but I concluded that it was most likely this bird and I gave my reasons. It's definitely not the glossy starling. The purple glossy starling and the greater blue-haired starling are Otete. It's not unusual that birds would share names. These birds look alike. In southwest Nigeria, you would most likely see the purple glossy starling. Otete is what this bird is called. So this bird, you would also call the Otete because they're of the same family. They look alike, Otete. And it's reminiscent of one of the pet names that the deity Yemoja was given and is still called to this day, Otete. I'm almost confident that there's a connection, but I cannot tell you. I cannot give you a background story or give you the exact details. But it is more than likely, especially looking at the color of this bird and everything, and I would remind one of like tie and dye and indigo. It's very likely that there's a connection between this bird and Yemoja. So that's that for Agbe. For Aluko, in the video, I presented three options, these three options, and I said, considering we're saying Aluko lolosun, you're tempted to think of a bird with mainly red feathers. So I went with a Carmine bee eater, but it turns out, now that I've done extensive searching, that it's not. It is the yellow-billed Turaco. All red-winged Turacos are Aluko. So there are many types of Turacos. This is the great blue one, very distinct. These are blue ones as well. There should be another diagram with your names. White-crested Turaco and this Turaco and this. You would find the yellow-billed ones in, well, at least before the pet trades and everything, you would have found these ones more commonly in the southwest area. Also, one has to think of the fact that Nigeria as it is today didn't quite exist, like the dividing and the bordering. So, but within the area that we now call southwest Nigeria, you would have found this. I mean, of all this Turacos with, greenish feathers, you would have found these ones more commonly. These ones were pretty common. So they are Aluko. I think most of these other ones, including the Ross's Turaco and the Violaceous Turaco, including these two, they have red wings. So Agbe is like the father of the sort. These are Aluko. I was quite surprised too, because you would have thought that the bird in question, especially if you've seen the video that I'm making this as a follow-up to, Agbe Lolaro Aluko Lolosun, you would have thought the bird was indeed one with mainly reddish feathers, but it's not quite. It's the wings that are now being considered. So the wings of the great blue Turaco let you know the town of the indigo dye. The wings of the yellow-billed Turaco lets you know the town of the camwood powder. So it's for these Turacos, we are considering their wings. So you could say yellow-billed Turaco because they are more, at least they were, more popular in the area. Some of these other Turacos are more popular in the south and west regions of Africa. But if you call them Aluko as well, you would not be wrong. You wouldn't be. Well, these grayish turacos, I don't know if we have them or we have them in abundance in present day southwest Nigeria and its environs. So yeah, I don't know too much about them. But this we still have. They're just less popular because of all the pet trade going on. These ones in green anyway, the ones that I put green lines over, you would refer to as Aluko, because they have reddish feathers, very bright red colored feathers that remind you of camwood powder. What is the Carmine bee eater? I am not quite sure myself. I've been trying to find it for days. I don't know. It was supposed to be Aluko when I made that video, but it's not. So now we can just, I suppose, analyze and think of it. Now I know that referring to this bird as Aluko actually came from the saying Àlùkò ló lósùn. Because this bird's feathers are predominantly red, somehow they just got into the mix that the northern Carmine bee eater is the Àlùkò. But that's so far from correct, and I am so embarrassed. Now that I know what I know, it's not. A bird with predominantly red feathers like this will probably have a name that includes Osun though, and that is true. So I don't know if a Yoruba name has ever existed for it, an established one I mean, or how popular they were when all these other birds were being named. If they weren't named, or if a name never stuck, then they weren't abundant at the time that our ancestors were naming these other birds, because it's so hard to find a name. This bird has predominantly red feathers. It's the orange bishop, and it's called Eye Irosun. It's named after the camwood tree. The camwood tree is the Iro Osun. It bleeds, it drips Osun. It's not even bleed. Ro, if you say Ejenro, a person's blood is dripping. It's the tree that, if you're going to break the word Irosun down, Iro Osun, the tree that when you slice it, when you cut it, produces Osun. Pretty much. If you look at the underlying feathers, it has black underneath and it looks like red is coming out of it. Pretty much. That's the idea for naming this bird, the orange bishop bird. It's called the Irosun. That's why I said a bird with predominantly red feathers like this, knowing how the Yoruba people named things and still name things, many times it's based on how that thing looks or what that thing reminds you of. It's probably, if a name exists, it it will probably contain also. Now, if I'm going to come up with a name for this bird, because it seems impossible to find the name, it would probably be Eye Olosun, or Eye Abosun, or something like that. But it would probably be, considering the feathers, it would probably contain Osun. My strategy when I spent days, significant time trying to find the name, my strategy was, is there a similar looking bird that it probably shares a name with? And I'll tell you why I thought that way. No, there isn't. There's no bird with the shape of the beak and just the general shape of the bird. I don't think there are many birds that look like it. It's very distinct. So couldn't think of any bird that it would probably share a name with. Looking at the Olongo, for instance, Olongo and how significant it is. The Olongo is the orange-cheeked waxbill. We have sayings that have even now become songs. Sayings like Piri ni olongonji, Piri ni olongonji, Aki bọ́kùnrin ẹyẹ lórí ìtẹ́, Piri ni olongonji. The olongo is always hale and earthy. Piri ni olongonji. We have folk songs like Ẹyẹ mélòó tolongo wáyé tó. How many birds came to the world with the orange-cheeked waxbill? How many birds? Ọ̀kan dúdú aró, ọ̀kan rẹ̀rẹ̀ osùn. And this is in relation to how the bird looks. The bird has dark feathers, but the cheeks are also reddish, orange. Reddish, like the camwood powder. It's like a tease. So to say, how many birds came to the world with the Olongo? Because it's like two birds in one. It has darkish features, but it also has bright features. Now, my point with how names are sometimes shared in relation to my strategy for, okay, what can the Carmine bee eater be? Is there a bird that looks like it? My rationale was, this bird, these robins are called Olongo as well. Now that we, have explored multiple continents, Yoruba people are everywhere. The Cape robin chat, that is also native to Africa, but more the south of Africa, I think. This bird is called Olongo. Now, perhaps multiple centuries ago, it wouldn't have been called Olongo because it wasn't all too familiar, but that is what it's called now, sharing its name with the wax bill that we've always known, and the symbolism is everywhere. It's in the songs, it's on the crowns, especially kings that are prone to be ill, fall ill often, or maybe some foretelling had been told, like, okay, this king is going to be prone to falling ill. You may see depictions that include the Olongo. Like, okay, this bird is always hale and earthy and never ill. Just symbolism, basically. Maybe it wasn't all too familiar back in the day, but it's called the Olongo now. This European robins and the American robins are also called Olongo. We've not come up with separate names for them. We just use the names that we already have and we are more familiar with. So it happens that names will be shared. Look at how many birds are called the Aluko, all because they look alike and they share the quality of the red feathers. Despite the fact that they have they have very similar characteristics and behaviors, but they have distinct looks. Look at how many of them are called Aluko. So same as this waxbill and the robin. So, but finding the name for this bird, especially one that existed centuries ago and that I can prove, whether through a song or a saying or just a story in the Odrifa or something. Yeah, no, this video would have never been published if I had insisted that I had to find it. I could not find it. But if anybody can find it on our behalf and establish it in some facts, that would be nice. So that's that. If you have any questions or concerns, if you're mad at me or any angry outbursts that I called the Carmine bee eater the Aluko earlier, please don't hesitate to express how you feel. Thank you for watching and for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
Oh, ilé àpàlàdàn tí ọ̀jẹ̀ ń bá fẹ̀dọ́ ni ọmọ ojúlábẹ ọmọ ojúlẹ́dọ̀ táwà ọmọ ojú oró tí ọ̀jẹ̀sẹ̀ yóò tó mi ju ọ̀kẹ́rẹ́ òjé kí omi ọbọ̀ òtòrò ìbá tòrò négénégénégé èmi lọ́la rí ń bọ àmúbọ̀ sùn kátólì mú bọjá gbogbo sàméjèèjì rè tí bẹ nípa ẹ̀kún òpópó máa yí ìyàn o àbútẹrù bí máa yí jẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ wọ́n bá ti jí ogun ni máa tọrọ lọ́wọ́ ọba ọmọ olódò kan ò tẹ́rẹ́rẹ́ àbútẹrù mọ olódò kan ò tààrà ìtọ́sàgbére.